I want to talk about being used. And I'm not talking about the people that's obviously using you. I'm talking about the people that's not obviously using you. And if you don't know exactly who those people are, it's going to be too late by the time you realize they are using you. And then you done lost all your resources, your energy, all the headaches already done came. And it all could have been avoided if you just knew exactly what to look for from the start. Now, just to begin with that, you have to really think about a light switch. A light switch turns on and off. And if you think about this light switch just being, if it's on, that means they're taking from you. That means your energy is being used by somebody else. But when it's off, you get to keep it. That's all for you. Now, the people that's there that's using you tend to keep that light switch on. As long as they keep that light switch on, you're just losing and losing. And that's how we determine exactly who are the people that's using us and the people that's there for us. Now, I give you an example. A person can turn on that light switch, and then you'll start to see a person that abuses it, keeps it on, even when they're not using it. This is the person that leaves the house with the lights on and just say, I don't really care. Other people will do the opposite, the good ones. Everybody's going to turn it on, but they'll turn it on when they're using it and be mindful to turn it off when they're not. Let's just go far-fetched, because there's different people in life that'll do that. Let's talk about a girlfriend, right? Or any woman that you're talking to. If you're talking to a woman and she's a user, she's always going to think that you owe her something, which is that energy. She'll always keep the light switch off. And in fact, if you ever mention it like you want to turn it off, she'll get upset, or she'll act a certain way, or she'll look at you like you're stupid. Like, why is it not on? I deserve all the light in the world. And you have to sit down and be like, all right, this chick is losing her goddamn mind. But as men, we're taught to just give people stuff. So if we're giving people stuff all the time, then we're never ever thinking about what we're supposed to receive. You're never ever taught what you're supposed to get out of any deal. You're only taught what you're supposed to give. That's not by mistake. That's by design. The reason why they want men to not know exactly what their worth is and not give out what they deserve or get back what they deserve is solely because once men do, then revolutions start to happen. You don't want a man sitting there and be like, well, I'm not doing nothing until I get this. That's going to be the worst thing that ever happened to anyone, because everything will be skewed towards the man. But if you can convince men that they're not supposed to get anything and we're supposed to just do things, then they get a lot of productivity out of us. And then the people, which is a good thing, right? It's not even like a bad thing, because it separates the real from the fantasized real easy. Because the people that's going to take advantage of that, those are the people that are no good. And then there's going to be people that would never take advantage of that, even though they know that they could. It's the difference between one of these girls that's just going to use you for whatever you got and an actual wife. I'm not talking about a wife because you married the woman. I'm talking about an actual wife. Some guys are in relationships right now with a woman that he made his wife, have no idea what his worth is, and that woman keeps his light switch on all day. And he looks at it like, well, happy wife, happy life. That's just what it is. She wants this, I'm going to give it to her because I'm a man. And then as soon as he asks for something small, it's like, I'll get to it when I get to it. And he'd be like, all right, cool. At least she'll get to it when they get to it. We always accept the bare minimum. And that's how we end up being used. We have women that we do a lot for. So if you are that type of man that's actually doing a lot for a woman, you have to really sit down and be like, when am I getting back out of this? Don't be the man, I don't care what nobody say, to say like, you ain't really supposed to get nothing. You're supposed to do it just because. That's a lie. That's a complete lie. Now, what happens is I'm supposed to get something back for whatever it is. And you're supposed to know exactly what you're supposed to get back for it. What's the difference is I'm probably not going to come collect immediately. But you're supposed to get something back. So if I give X, Y, and Z, I'm going to expect this back. I might not expect it immediately, but I'm going to expect it back. A lot of the times that just comes with respect. But as long as you understand what you're supposed to get back, you start to understand if somebody's kicking back something or how much they're kicking back. And that's determined on how much they can pay. Let's give an example again. If you give somebody $100 and you want to put interest on that, and you say, look, I'm going to give you $100, you give me back $105. Keep in mind, that person could never get that $100 with that 5% interest on it. It's impossible for you to give it back on that end. Just giving me 5% more back. Anywhere else, they're going to charge them 20, 30, whatever it is. And you say, you know what? Just give me 5 back. On top of that, I'm not even going to give you a deadline. I'm just going to say, just give it back to me whenever you got it. That's the concept of actually not really wanting something back, but you still expect it. Even if it takes a long time, it doesn't matter, right? So that person, the way they pay you back will tell you everything. Some people will take that money and be like, oh, thanks, I appreciate it. And although you gave them just $5, just give me back $5 on top of whatever I gave you. And in any time period, you start to realize they'll probably pay you the first week, the second week, and they'll drag it along. Keep in mind, you know that this person, even with their financial situation, can pay you back in a week, 2 weeks. That person decides not to pay you back in 1 week or 2 weeks. They're dragging us along, and that's fine. Because now we need to understand and separate the real from the fantasized. Exactly who's the users. That person might take a month, still ain't give you back all your money. Or that person, if they do give you back all your money, they forget the extra 5. And then now you feel awkward. Like, yeah, I'm not going to bother that person for $5. But it's the concept of it. And once you get that concept of it, that's when you know who to separate. Now, this person might be, in your eyes, a good friend or a good family member, whatever it is. But as long as you know what you're supposed to get back, you start to understand where to put that person back. Now, a person might get that $100 and say, look, he said I give him back 105. I'm going to give him back 110 just for being there for me when I need it. Those are the people, and they try to get it back to you as fast as possible. If their check is $200, they want to give you half immediately, and then come to you like, look, I'm just going to give you everything right now. And then you'll say, as a decent person, nah, definitely not, man. All right, just give me 20, and then, you could just pay it off like that. Like, you don't have to just give me all your money because you're going to end up being broke. And that person's like, all right, thank you. And they keep on doing it, and they stay on their payments or whatever it is. Even if you don't want the money back, but you should always want the concept of whatever you've done for somebody to reciprocate it. As soon as you start giving people this open world, this open hand to just do whatever they want to do, that's when they start to use them. And women will do that a lot. This is just the section of women. Women will do this so much to the point that you'll be a good person and they'll forget how to be a good person. There is no more gratitude because they become so used to whatever you're doing. It's a bunch of things that I've done for people, and they became so used to doing whatever I'm doing for them that they don't never want to return the favor ever because they never really feel like they have to. And like, all right, well, it's fine. And if you're a person that don't ask for anything or seems like they don't need anything, then those people would just continue to take and take and take. That light switch stays on. It never cuts off because they look at it like, well, you got it. You got the energy. So it really doesn't matter. That's the equivalent of just wasting water, especially like in America or a first world country. You can waste water, we can run the water and just let it go because in our minds, it never shuts off. But in other countries, they have to ration their water. Now, if we go to their country and do the same exact thing, then now you become a piece of shit, right? Because now you have to figure out, like, why am I wasting water? Over there is wasting water. Here we have an abundance. As long as somebody think that you have an abundance for them, they're going to keep on using you for that abundance. These people are the people that you want to keep outside your life, especially when it comes to women, because men just go straight stupid when it comes to women. When it comes to doing something for a woman, you feel like you're obligated to do so, but you don't understand exactly what you are supposed to get back. You're even scared to turn on her switch. This person can turn on your switch and leave it on for years. You'll still hesitate to touch her light switch. Say, let me just, you know what? I probably don't need it. I could probably, relight a candle. I could probably just walk through it without it. I don't really, really, really need it. And you feel like you can't even turn on that light switch unless you're like so desperate in need. That's a bad thing because you create habits in other people, and those people take advantage of those habits. Now, when it comes to friends, they do the same thing. When it comes to family, they do the same thing. You have to understand what your light switch is, and you have to understand that your light switch actually means something to you, and you have to put value into that light switch. The second that you don't, people will take advantage of that because you're just giving things out for free, and they'll never understand that they have to reciprocate that. Now, as crazy as that might sound, as a man, when you just taught to just give people everything that you got, and you're supposed to do it without worrying about anything. Once you start getting into that habit, you start realizing that, especially if you're a young guy. If you're a young guy, then you already, being finessed that you should just give for nothing. If you're an older guy, you can probably look back and say, it's kind of right. The people that I did give to and give my energy to, they didn't reciprocate that energy back. And you need to figure out why they didn't reciprocate that energy back. You are being used for all the energy that you got. It's because you're not expecting anything back from somebody. The best thing you can do, let's just say if you just start a relationship with somebody, I've learned that you need to start allowing people to do things. Now, if you're a provider, if you're the guy that is happy with doing everything and it doesn't really matter, like, no, don't even worry about it. I got it. No, don't worry about it. I got it. You start to put people in this headspace that they don't really have to do anything. So sometimes you have to allow people to do things, although you're fully comfortable with doing it, you allow them to do that. It's the types of guys that's, let's say a woman cooks and she asks, all right, well, what do you want to drink? And you say, oh, no, I'll get up. I'll get it. You can just leave it there. I'm good. Don't do that. Allow that woman to bring you something to drink. Just say, I want X, Y, and Z, and allow her to bring it. Because it makes her feel like she's reciprocating value. And it also makes her understand that you're going to require and collect something. It's something very small, but it matters in the long run. When somebody's going to get something, they say, oh, I'm going to go get the groceries out the car. And you say, oh, no, you ain't got to do that. I'll do it. Now, it's a difference between a guy that just does absolutely nothing, just let her do everything herself. And then it's also a difference between a guy that does everything for her. She does nothing herself. Once you start letting people do nothing at all, it becomes this norm. And then that norm is where they start to take advantage of you down the line. In the beginning, it might be sweet. And women can finesse you in so many different ways because that's the way they communicate. Women cannot be physically violent towards men or physically force men to do stuff. They have to manipulate you in order to do it. So they have to play mind games in order for you to do it. This is like what do you want to eat? She knows exactly what she wants to eat. She wants to eat D. That's hilarious. She wants to eat that. So you'll go to A like, oh, what do you want to eat? She's like, I don't know, it's up to you. So you'll say A. And she'll be like, okay, B. Yeah, I guess we can do that. I don't know. Then you'd be like, all right, well, C, because she knows that you're going to try to give her whatever she wants. And then by the time you get to D, we all knew, you knew from the beginning that's what she wanted. And what did she do after that? She said, oh, D, I could do that. I could do that. Yeah, that sounds the best. And you'd be like, well, that's what you wanted from the beginning. But what she did, she had to manipulate you to make it seem like it was your decision, although it's her decision. So she gets whatever she wants, and you just gave her whatever she wants. But she can come back if y'all, let's just say, y'all weird, y'all have arguments about stuff like that. If you ever had an argument, it's like, well, I don't always pick the food. You also pick the food. You picked D yesterday. You wanted that. And in your brain, you're like, well, I did say that, but I said that because you wanted that. And then she'll be like, well, nobody tell you to do that. And that's how manipulation happens. Because they'll take advantage and use you for being good. And they'll be like, well, I don't have to reciprocate that value when it comes to that. I'm going to allow him to do for me, but I'm not going to do for him. in that instance, if you wanted A or B, you need to get A or B, because that person has to understand that I'm not going to just continue to do things for you, even though if I know what you want, even if I didn't even mind D. If I wanted B more than I wanted D, but I didn't mind either or, still go with B, because that's what you really want. I don't care if it's 51% and the other one you're cool with 49%. If it's 51%, you go with B. And it's not because you don't want to make another person happy. It's the fact that if you continue to do that, that person will continue to manipulate you and continue to use you. And then here is the worst part when it comes to men. The worst part ever is that not only would you spoil a person and have them do these things over and over and over, when you keep on giving, people tend to not have the gratitude anymore. So the day that you actually don't feel that 50-50 motion, where you really, really, really just don't want D and you really do want B, that's when that person be like, okay, whatever, you can have that. I don't really want that. And it make you feel bad about your decision. However, if it was reversed and that person really wanted D and you really wanted B, you'd be like, you know what? It's fine. Let's go with that. And you'll do it with a smile on your face. They won't do it with a smile on their face because they look at it like you're going against whatever they wanted. As a man, you have to understand that you have to collect. And if you don't collect and you allow people to keep your light switch on, then you're going to be after, and they're going to continue to use you because it's pointless not to. Who doesn't want an abundance of something? You're like an ATM that just keeps spitting out money. If that's the case, everybody's going to go to it and everybody's going to continue to go to it over and over and over. Who would stop? You have to understand that it has to be a stop button there somewhere. And that stop button is telling people non-verbally. You should never have to tell somebody this. Non-verbally communicate with some people. This is not going to happen. I stand for this. This is the area that I'm going, and this is what I want. And you have to know how to stand on business, because it's no such thing as negotiation at all if you're not willing to walk away. And sometimes guys are not willing to walk away. Matter of fact, a lot of times guys are not willing to walk away for the fear of hurting someone else. Like, women can get up and be like, you know what, this don't suit me anymore. I am out. A guy would sit there in the worst situation ever. A lot of guys in sexless marriages and sexless relationships and not getting exactly what you want. It's bad enough in the beginning of your relationship to the middle to the end of your relationship. You don't get what you want. She gets what she wants, because the second that she doesn't get whatever she wants, she leaves. Or she'll make you feel like you're not doing enough. But when you're not getting whatever you want, and I know most men, the vast majority, 90+% of men, do not get exactly what they want in a relationship. Nowhere close to it. If you sat him down to the side, you'd be like, what exactly do you want? Period. He'll probably want a couple women. He probably want her to not talk so goddamn much. He'll probably don't want to spend all the money that he got to spend and pay for everything. Stop having her complain. Whatever it is, he's not getting whatever he wants. He's settling to make her happy. And in return, she feels like that's what you're there for. Only to still get up, because they leave 70+% of the time, only to still get up and be with somebody else that's doing far less than whatever you were doing. It's a stupid thing. However, if you do stand on your ground and you make whatever you want laid out, then that person has to acquiesce to whatever you want as well. And it tends to last longer when you stand on business, because they already know this is what it is and this is what it's not. And if you're not going to come to this, because men, it's always basic. Everything that we want is extremely basic. So if you can't even do the basics, then you have to go. And you have to understand your value to be like, well, I'm going to leave. Stop allowing these people to keep your light switch on. Allow these people to know that they have to turn it off. And the second that they do not turn it off and they use it abundantly without having no consideration about what you got going on, then you need to let that person go immediately. Stop being used. Stop having these people take advantage of you. Nobody is worth your energy.